Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on match day. It is of course Thursday, which means that Europa League is back and Arsenal will be looking to get themselves back on track really after the last few results. Certainly the defeat against Aston Villa before the international break, and then the scrappy, if not well battled, draw with 10 men up at Leeds. I'd love to get back to winning ways tonight. They do that and they almost guarantee themselves passage through to the knockout stages with 2 games to spare as group winners, of course. So I thought apologies first of all, actually. I was supposed to do a video yesterday after the press conference for Mikel Arteta, but he didn't finish till pretty late and there was a lot going on and I had to get the kids to bed. So I just didn't get time to do the video. So I thought I'd pop on today, just talk about a little bit about what we spoke about with Mikel Arteta and also look ahead to tonight's game as well. So we shall start on Nicolas Pepe. Has obviously been a big talking point since the game at Leeds after that red card. A lot of you have had your say in the comments below and certainly on social media as well, on Twitter to me, replying to stuff about Pepe after that game against Leeds. A lot of you defended him, a lot of you having a go at him. I think it's been fairly split, certainly. I think we can all agree it was a pretty stupid thing for him to do at the weekend, but obviously it happens. It does happen in football, and you just want him to sort of get back, bounce back from that now and get back to playing. He will play tonight, so he has travelled over to Norway. He will start tonight. Mikel Arteta was talking about him. He said it was a perfect chance, really, for him to bounce back and respond in the exact perfect way possible. He said that he's apologised to him, he's apologised to his teammates. He did it sort of publicly. Obviously, we saw that statement, but he's also done it privately as well at the training ground. And Arteta was really impressed with the way Pepe has responded and reacted following that sending off. And he has some nice things to say about him. He said he had a really good reaction, the way he apologised, the way he understood his responsibility, and hopefully tomorrow, it's Thursday, we can see the player we want to see have a really good reaction and to help the team. He was also asked, whether what Pepe did on Sunday, may well be the sort of beginning of the end for him and his Arsenal career. I mean, a lot of people have thought, Arteta wasn't really trusting him before that. Is he going to trust him now? Is this going to be the sort of beginning of the end for Pepe at Arsenal? And that was put to him, and he said, no, absolutely no. It's not about that, and I don't like that type of statement. I will give Nico my full support all the time. He knows the things he has to improve, but as well, we know his qualities. He has responsibility. I have responsibility, which is to get the best out of him, get him in the best position, the best areas for him to do what he does with the ball. To say it's a threat for him to finish his career at Arsenal, it's not like that at all. So, very strong backing for Mikel Arteta. I know a few of you have voiced your disapproval, really, to me, over the way Mikel Arteta reacted to that sending off. A lot of you felt that he threw Nicolas Pepe under a bus at Ellen Road. I don't agree with that. I have to say, I said that in my last video. I didn't think Pepe really gave him any other choice, but Arteta had to publicly give him a bit of a dressing down, I thought, after doing that at Ellen Road. But I certainly like the way Arteta's handled it yesterday in his press conference and the backing that he gave Nico, because that's what he's got to do now. It's all about getting Pepe back, because he's such a good player when he's on it, and he's the sort of player that Arsenal don't really have. He scores goals, he creates goals when he's on it. Unfortunately, he's not on it all the time, and that's what Arteta has to do, and that's what he talks about here in this press conference, by admitting it's his responsibility to get the best out of Pepe as well. And I thought it was a good press conference from Arteta. I thought he said some really good things. I think Nicolas Pepe, if he'd have been listening to that, would have been happy with what he heard, and hopefully it'll give him a nice little confidence boost going into this game, because obviously we haven't got him for 3 games in the Premier League now, so we need to see him producing in the Europa League in the meantime, and hopefully that will start tonight when Arsenal play at Molde. So that's what he had to say on Nicolas Pepe. Right, let's talk quickly about transfers, shall we? Because surprisingly, even though we're not even December yet, that was a little bit of a hot topic during the press conference yesterday, transfers, because there has been a few different links with Arsenal and transfers. We'll start with Christian Eriksen, who I've covered before on a couple of these videos, and my thoughts on it. That obviously he's not happy at Inter Milan. He said that before publicly. He could be looking to leave in January once the window's open, because he's not playing in Milan. And it's been reported now that he has been offered to Arsenal. James Ollie over at ESPN, he reported yesterday that Eriksen has been offered to Arsenal. The report didn't state whether Arsenal were interested or anything like that. It was just merely that Eriksen has been offered to Arsenal in a potentially cut price deal. I think he moved from Spurs to Inter for 17 million, I think, and James at ESPN's reporting that he could be available for as little as 12 million in January. And so that was put to Mikel Arteta yesterday during a press conference, asked whether Eriksen could be the man to sort of make up for the lack of creativity that Arsenal are suffering at the moment. He said there are a lot of players out there that can improve any team, but obviously we are not going to discuss individuals. So it's typical Arteta response, really, when asked about Eriksen. He never likes to really talk about players or transfer targets, anything like that. For me, I've said it before, I'm not sure it really one that Arsenal are going to look at, just because, and that's not from any information that I have on whether Arsenal are interested in him, because I just don't know. I haven't been able to have it confirmed by anyone myself, so I can't deny it or confirm it, but I just look at it as he's 28, Eriksen. He's not really he's not a high tempo player as in high press or anything like that. To me, he just doesn't really fit the type of player that I think Mikel Arteta wants to bring to the club. We've seen the fact that Mesut Ozil's being sort of ushered out now. Obviously a couple of years older than Eriksen, but still a similar sort of player in that regard. And I don't see Eriksen. It just doesn't feel like a right fit for me. So although Mikel Arteta wouldn't confirm or deny it yesterday, I'm still unsure when the window opens in January, even at a price like 12 million, although it would be pretty appealing, 12 million for a player of Eriksen's quality. I'm still not sure he really is that missing piece of the jigsaw that Arsenal are looking at in terms of filling their creative void over the next couple of seasons. He was also asked yesterday about Sander Berge, who the Sheffield United player, Norwegian international. Arsenal obviously playing in Norway tomorrow, said there was interest from the local journalists over there in this one. And he was asked about the reports linking Arsenal with a move with Berge, who's obviously used to play under Albert Stuyvenberg, the Arsenal assistant manager, when they was at Genk, and that's where kind of the link comes from. And the reports over in Norway saying Arsenal are very keen on bringing Berge to the Emirates. They were keen in the summer apparently, and they're still looking at a possible deal now in January. But he was, although he didn't really talk about it with Christian Eriksen, he was a lot more forthcoming over these links and was pretty strong in his denial. He said that's probably why Albert knows him really well. He's a player he liked, but we haven't shown any interest in the player. He's a Sheffield United player and we haven't done anything on it at all. So pretty strong in terms of a denial from Mikel Arteta there in Arsenal's interest in Sander Berge. So I don't think that is one that's going to be happening anytime soon. And he was also asked about Jack Wilshere. Actually, I asked him this one about Wilshere. There's a couple of questions I asked him. Jack Wilshere yesterday was on, I think it was an ITV football podcast, and he was saying it was his dream it would be a dream to come back to Arsenal. Wilshere's obviously a free agent at the moment, having left West Ham. He put up his little hand, an emoji hand on, I think it was a Piers Morgan tweet, actually saying who can solve Arsenal's creativity issues, and Wilshere kind of threw his hand into the ring on Twitter, and then he was asked about that during this football podcast on ITV, and he said it'd be a dream to go back to Arsenal on a even paying a play basis, but said again sort of, look, I haven't spoken to anyone about it, and I understand that's probably very, very unlikely. So we asked Mikel about that yesterday, and he said we haven't analysed that situation. What I can say about Jack as a player, as a teammate, and as a person, that I rate him really, really highly, but unfortunately at the moment we haven't looked at that. We are focused on the players we have and trying to do the best we can with them. On whether he'd invite Wilshere to train with a club while he's a free agent, says we have no request on that. We haven't been approached. I can't tell you much more. So yeah, although it's a romantic type story of Wilshere possibly returning to Arsenal, I think we all know it's not going to happen, is it? He's 28 now. We all know his injury problems, although he is fit at the moment. And despite the fact him and Arteta are teammates, played with each other for a long time at Arsenal, doesn't seem like it's one that Arteta would be exploring in the future. I also asked Mikel Arteta about Folarin Balogun, obviously the very, very exciting young Arsenal striker who's out in Norway with the squad. Got a good chance of getting some minutes tonight against Molde. Could be his second senior appearance after he came on against Dundalk in one of the earlier rounds in the competition. David Ornstein over at The Athletic earlier in the week had reported that Arsenal had reopened talks with Balogun. I covered it on my last video over a new contract. He's obviously out of contract this coming summer. Those talks had been put to one side and basically shut down earlier this year because the two sides couldn't meet somewhere in the middle. Arsenal are offering Balogun a sort of very heavily incentivized. I can never say that word. A lot of incentives to do well to get his money up over the next couple of years. He didn't want that. He wanted a more firm base on his weekly wage rather than having to hit certain targets to get more money. The two sides couldn't come to an agreement, so those contract talks were basically shelved, and Arsenal said, okay, fine, you can leave this summer if we get a suitable offer. That offer didn't arrive. Only Sheffield United tabled a firm bid. That was only £3 million. Arsenal didn't think that was enough, and they'd rather go, when he leaves on a free, potentially next summer, go to a tribunal because they will get some money in terms of compensation because of his age. If he goes to an English club, that is. They won't if he goes abroad. So they decided to keep him, and now they're trying to actually get him to sign a new deal. Contract talks have been reopened. I asked Mikel Arteta about that yesterday. I asked, have they been opened? He said, yes, he's a player that I want. He's a player I want to stay at the club. I love working with young players that you can see the talent is there, the ambition is there, and can fit into the structure and improve us in the future. He's part of our DNA, and myself and the club are working to try and extend his contract, trying to change the situation we are in at the moment with him and trying to convince him that this is the right place for him, which I think a lot of you are going to certainly like hearing that, because I know how much you want Balogun to stay, and I think he's a fantastic talent. I'd absolutely want him to stay if they can come to some sort of agreement. I remember I went to Barnet last year for an Arsenal 11 versus Barnet pre-season friendly, and Balogun played up front. He scored a hat-trick in the space of about 7 minutes, and it was absolutely amazing hat-trick as well. The goals was such quality. He really does look a hell of an exciting player, but you also have to understand that Arsenal got Eddie Nketiah, Tyrese John-Jules is out on loan at the moment, obviously, Gabby Martinelli to come back, so there's a lot of players, young strikers, competing for those positions. So it's not a foregone conclusion that he will get into the team if he does stay and progress. That's why it's not going to be easy. Just because contract talks have reopened, it's not going to be easy to get him to sign a new deal. Arsenal are going to have a fair bit of negotiating to do, and they're going to have to allay a lot of fears, and they're probably going to have to change that offer that they put on the table for him in terms of the fact it's going to be incentives-based one, and they're going to have to probably raise it a little bit to be more of a fixed rate one where he can see exactly how much money he's going to be earning over the next 3 or 4 years. Right, Arsenal versus Molde tonight, as we've been saying a few times during this video. Team news wise, I'm sure you've probably already seen it, but it looks like the big players who haven't travelled, there's no Aubameyang, there's no Willian. Willian's injured, there's no Saka, he's injured as well. Gabriel isn't there. El Neni, Chambers, Kolasinac, so they're the sort of big senior players who haven't travelled, although it's still a very strong squad that's gone over there with a few youngsters like Balogun, like Miguel Aziz, like Emil Smith-Rowe, Ben Cottrell, so there's a fair few youngsters over there as well. It'll be very interesting to see. Looking at the training pictures yesterday, it was interesting watching the training game. The front four of one of the teams was Pepe right, Nelson left, Lacazette at number 10 and Balogun up front. I mean, that'd be very interesting to see if that was the starting lineup going forward tonight. Certainly in terms of Balogun getting that start over Nketiah, but I'm not sure. I still think Eddie will probably start. Is much more likely to me that he will. So my predicted 11 for tonight's game, I'm going to go with Leno again in goal. I don't think Runarsson will get the nod. I think we'll see Leno. Back four, I'm going to go with Cedric, Mustafi, Louise and Tierney. I'm going to go with midfield. I think I'm going to get a bit of Xhaka and Ainsley Maitland-Niles I'm going to go for as my midfield pairing. Then Pepe, I'm going to think Lacazette possibly as a number 10 sort of role. Nelson on the left and Eddie Nketiah as the central striker. Remember, that's just me giving a predicted 11. That's not based on what I know or any knowledge of what the team's going to be. That's just my predicted 11. So it's probably going to be completely wrong, but I always try and do a predicted one just to see how right or wrong I am by the time kickoffs comes around. So it's 5:55 kickoff tonight. Team news will be out between 4:30 and 5 o'clock, always a little bit early in Europa League games. I'll be covering the game as always, so although I'm not in Norway, obviously I'm in my bedroom at the moment because COVID rules have prevented us from heading over to Norway. So I'll be covering the game as usual on my social media channels at Charles_Watts on Facebook as well, and I will try after the game to come on and do my usual player ratings type video. And obviously I will be putting my match report, well, not match report, my feature retype stuff and any reaction to the game on goal.com. So please do head over to Goal or follow the links I post on my social media to read my stuff. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. The sun's out, so enjoy your Thursday ahead of kickoff, and then fingers crossed we have an enjoyable couple of hours once Arsenal get underway in Norway. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.